Hello? Who's there? I heard you just a moment ago. Oh, it's just you guys. I thought I saw a ghost. But speaking of ghosts, that gives me an idea. Hello, and welcome back to the official Cult of Beef YouTube channel. I'm your friendly neighborhood cult leader, the Beef Chief, but we're all friends here, so you could just call me Chief, and welcome to this week's video. Now, I've been thinking lately. I do a lot of that, you know. What should we do next with the channel? And I thought, you know, while I'm thinking of stuff, I do have like a bigger video planned next week, maybe the week after. I've been planning the next video we're making for ages. But in the meantime, I wanted to be able to put something out there that wasn't another, you know, product review or something like that. And I was thinking, what am I good at? Talking. The gift of gab, if you will. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to open up a new segment on the channel, and it's going to be called Cult Commentary. And today in Cult Commentary, we'll be covering ghosts. Ghosts! Now you may be wondering why. Well, that's because ghosts are interesting, you know? And I just don't think we talk about them as much as we used to or as much as we should. Because I feel like when I was growing up around 10, 11, 12, around that age, I was so fascinated with the paranormal. And I would always I remember I'd rush home from school and I'd put on Discovery Channel or Travel Channel, and they would have like the world's top 10 most haunted places. Or I remember the show A Haunting. I know there's some of you out there who are like, damn, that shit, you unlocked a part of my brain I completely forgot about. Yeah, I know. That was the shit. And what was the other ones? The Taps one, Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. They were great. They were fun. They were a blast, right? And they were spooky, and they were magical, and they were all this stuff. Now, I don't know what happened, but I just don't hear anything about paranormal shit anymore. And initially I thought, well, it's probably because the internet became this huge thing, and I don't have cable anymore, so maybe they're still playing all that shit on cable, or maybe I just grew up and, you know, I just don't think about that stuff anymore. But then it came to me and I was thinking, you know, it's probably just that nobody gives a shit anymore because, you know, nobody believes it. Nobody cares. There's been so many movies, so many fakes, so many hoaxes, stuff like that. So I went on the internet and I looked up some statistics and I printed them out here today so we can go over them together. So check this out. This is pretty fascinating stuff. As of the year 1996, a poll was taken to see how many people believed in ghosts. And it turns out only 9% of Americans said that they believe in ghosts, right? Cool, whatever. 1 out of 10, if you would. Then they did another study in 2019 and got a poll on how many people believed in ghosts, and it was 45% in 2019, which is a massive jump, and is like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why? What happened from 1996 to 2019 where people were like, huh, that shit's real, hands down, fuck. I mean, back in 1996, I was a little skeptical, but now, there's like some event I missed, right? So then I was thinking, like, that's weird, because I also thought that, like, religion was on the decline through America, and I just figured that those two things would go hand in hand. Turns out, Christianity is still the biggest religion in the United States, right? And I pulled up the statistics to see how many people were Christians in 1990, which was 85% of Americans were Christian in the year 1990. Another poll was done in 2019, and it is now 65% of Americans are Christians now. So religion, or Christianity specifically, has been on a steady decline, but belief in ghosts has quadrupled, more than quadrupled. Which is weird, because I just, you know, spirituality, I just think they go hand in hand. So I thought that was an interesting thing to go over. But I mean, there's nothing really to go over. That's just a statistic I brought up, and something that's hard because there's no other really hard things to say about ghosts. So I brought up a couple discussion points here to talk about. Things that are for ghosts being real and things that are against ghosts being real. As you can see, I wrote for here and against. Yeah, we're serious about this video here today. And with that kind of brings us into the meat and potatoes of today's video. Are ghosts real or not? Yes or no? I want an answer. None of this in-between bullshit. I want yes or no. Gun to your head. Are they real or not? We're going to go over some discussion points I printed out here today, and then we're going to form an opinion together. Now, starting with number one, we're going to go through all the reasons ghosts are real, and then we'll go through all the reasons they aren't. And I'm going to counter each statement here with some, off-the-cuff bullshit I decide and come to the conclusion of, too, on my own, though. So, okay. Scientists still conduct research to this day on disproving the paranormal. I thought that was an interesting thing, an interesting point to bring up because, obviously they still want to disprove it. And the reason for that is because they don't know why so many people still believe in ghosts, and now way more than ever for some reason. So they're trying to figure out ways to be like, stop looking into this stuff. It's not real. Next thing I have on here is in the United States, selling a haunted house drastically reduces the price of the home, and realtors can get in legal trouble for not disclosing the possibility of a haunting making ghosts real, according to U.S. law. I have seen this. I lived in New Orleans for a while, and there's like hotels downtown and random areas that have signs that say, not haunted, which I thought, that's weird. That's a weird thing to put on a billboard. I understand that a lot of people believe in ghosts, but writing it down on something, it just looks silly. I don't know. I don't know. It's like, our basements are goblin free. No Martians in the attic. It just feels like that. It feels silly when you write it down, right? It's fun to think about. It makes sense to be scared about it in the middle of the night, when it's real quiet and you just watch a scary movie. But when you see it written on a sign in broad daylight, I don't know. I think you're an idiot. I'm sorry. Whatever. On to the next thing. Ghost sightings have existed for thousands of years. There are cave paintings depicting communication with the dead, and almost all cultures have their own ghost stories and boogeymen, or stories about, their ancestors coming back to talk to them in some way or another. That's just true. That's a weird thing, That's a weird point that societies all through history, since the dawn of man, there have been ghost stories, right? So, I don't really have anything to counter that. That's true. That's weird. I guess it's just there's just a lot of peace in thinking that you're not just nothing when you die, right? Maybe that's it. That's probably it. Could be it. I don't know. I'm a ghost. I could be a ghost. You don't know. Can you touch me? What I saw when I was researching a lot of like ghost websites and devout ghost enthusiasts, they all like to bring up Einstein's theory where matter can't be destroyed or created or anything like that, and they always use, where does the energy of consciousness go, after you die? Ghosts proven. Take that, bitch. Ghosts are real, and that's why. Oh, this is still the why ghosts are real section, so I won't hit that up just yet. And then lastly, there are just so many first-hand experiences, which is true. It's like 1 in 3 people have a ghost story. I have a ghost story, which we'll get to later. I don't know why that is. A bunch of liars, a bunch of fools. Who knows? Okay, so we covered all the reasons that ghosts are real. Now we need to cover all the reasons why ghosts aren't real, to be fair. So number 1, dreaming with your eyes open, or in other words, sleep paralysis. There's a chance that when you fall asleep, when you wake up, while you're sleeping, your body produces a chemical in your brain that keeps you paralyzed, so you don't reenact what's going on in your dream, and you don't fling yourself out of 4-story window and become a ghost, or not one, according to this side of things. But sometimes your body will keep releasing that chemical. It gets confused, or your brain doesn't know what's going on, and you wake up, but you still have that paralyzed chemical in your brain. And also you still have dream chemicals in your brain, which causes a lot of ghost sightings. There's stuff like that. A lot of, I didn't look up the exact percentage, but many ghost stories, and every other ghost story I've heard has been in a bed, which is weird, right? Which is not weird according to this first thing on the list, with sleep paralysis. And that's why, you got to take those with a grain of salt. But to counter that, if you did actually see a ghost in your bed, like an actual ghost, it's automatically going to be written off as sleep paralysis, right? Like, you're fucked. If King Baphomet himself raised through your floor, through his lava pit, and came up and rose over you while you were sleeping and hello, gave you one of them because he just actually genuinely wanted to come by and say hello, you'd be fucked, because anyone you would tell that actually happened to, when it literally happened, would be like, sleep paralysis, bro. It's when your brain and then fuck you, pretty much, right? Here's Einstein's theory again. A lot of the ghost naysayers like to say that when a living thing dies, it goes where all organic matter goes, back into the earth, back into other animals, back into the atmosphere. Why would it come back as a ghost? I do have to side with that one, because I don't know, it's silly. Like, to believe that every single living thing becomes a ghost, I think would be ridiculous. If I do believe in ghosts, it would be like one every 1,000 people gets to be a ghost, right? Because there would just we'd be seeing ghosts all the time. There'd be billions and billions and billions and billions of them, right? You mean to tell me that only like a select few and a select few places figured out how to show themselves? Ridiculous. Another big thing for the against is a symptom. What is it? How do you say this? Pareidolia. It's essentially the human experience that we like to see faces in everything. Faces in clouds, or faces on, like the thing on Mars. There was a face on Mars a bunch of years ago or whatever that everyone was talking about. Like, there's a face up there. It's a mask or something. No, it's just rocks that kind of look like a face, and we're just dumb little caveman brain. Speaking of caveman brain, that'll bring me right into the next section here, which is humans tend to err on the side of caution. This is part of caveman brain, literally, way back in the day when Unga Bunga was out in the woods looking for berries and saber-tooth snacks, and a bush started shaking and rustling around. Our boy Unga Bunga wasn't going to stick around and check if it was a gust of wind or maybe just a small rabbit, because, Unga Bunga thought that it could be a T-Rex, and T-Rex kill Unga Bunga, and that's no good. No good for Unga Bunga, that's for sure. And that's kind of the same situation that humans deal with. If your door randomly opens and swings open and hits the wall, you're scared. You're in panic mode. What's going on? Oh gosh, why did that happen? Is it a burglar? I go out and check. No, nobody's there. Okay, it was a dead guy. That's weird that we jump to that, but that's like our brain trying to protect itself, Like, this is danger, this is the unknown, I need to get the fuck out. Instead of hanging out and be like, maybe the hinge was loose, maybe there was a gust of wind in the house, maybe something like that. We snap into this, into caveman brain, fight or flight almost. And there was two different thought processes that went into it when I was doing my research. It was like, there's reactionary brain, which is the one that's just like, get the fuck out, save yourself. It was something bad, I must get away from bad thing. I am Unga Bunga, T-Rex opened my door. I don't like that. And then there's the rational brain, the one that stays around, hangs out, looks for evidence and stuff like that. But if our boy Unga Bunga hung out and looked for evidence, there was a chance that he could have been eaten. So good for Unga Bunga. Another thing on the against list is seeking out the paranormal will yield you the paranormal, and that's true. If you go into a place that you assume is a haunted house looking for a ghost, then chances are that's the first thing your brain's going to jump to when anything unexplained happens. I mean, firsthand. I know that. I used to go around when I was a kid and even well into my early adulthood looking for ghosts, and I found them everywhere. They were just all over the place, you know? Everything was a ghost. The wind, fucking nope, that was Ichabod Crane whispering in my ear his sweet tales of life. And then lastly, they're super easy to fake. They're super easy to mistake. They're super easy to lie about, even more so than Bigfoot and UFOs and stuff like that. If I was a lying piece of shit and I wanted to tell you about a ghost experience that I had, I could tell you, hey, there was this one time I was going to the store, and when I got into my car, a woman was sitting in the passenger seat, and then I blinked and she was gone. And bam, there's a ghost story for you. And if you have any more questions, it doesn't matter, because that's the whole story. It lasted a second long. Don't have a hard time remembering that, so I'm all set. Now, if I said, you know, oh, I was abducted by aliens back in 2014, it was crazy. I gotta remember all these fucking details. What was I doing? Where was I going? What happened when I was there? You know, who did I tell? There's so many things to keep track of. But, you know, I remember when I was going to the store and in the passenger seat, that chick was there, and then I blinked and she wasn't. That's so easy. So easy to lie about, you know? So Now that's the whole list. That's everything, right? So we don't have any hard evidence either way, for or against ghosts, but it's just, you know, the against was really just disproving all the things that were for, right? What is this video? This is fucking garbage. Jesus. So after reading all that, I really haven't changed my mind on anything. Even though I wanted a yes or no, I don't have one for you. I don't care anymore. Shooting this video has literally made me not care anymore. But hey, I did say I would tell you a ghost story in my life, so let's get into it. So this happened back in 2013. I was working in San Diego at the time, and I want to say I was early, I don't know, 20, 21 or something like that. And no, maybe I was 19. I was a kid, you know, I was still into all this stuff, right? So I was in San Diego, and I remember back on one of these shows I was watching that there was a really haunted house in San Diego. So I wanted to look up where it was just to see, you know, if it was worth it to go. It was like 10 minutes away from my hotel. So I was like, hell yeah, I want to go here. And I went there. I went there a bunch of times, 3 weekends in a row. And it's just this house in Old Town San Diego. It's called the Whaley House. Super famous haunted house. And I remember I took 700 something pictures, and I remember that specifically because my phone had like 4 pictures in it, and now it was like full. You know, my storage was at max with all these pictures. And there was one picture I remember specifically that had something weird in it. And what was weird was it was at the back window of the Whaley House, and I sat there and I took like, you know, 50 pictures just at that same window, just that. And I remember I leaned up against the window, and I was scrolling through the pictures, looking through all of them, waiting to see something weird, right? There was only one picture out of all of them that I saw, and I still have that picture actually. So if my editing skills are good enough, I'll throw it up on screen right now. But in the bottom left panel, there should be like 6 panels in this picture. On the bottom left one, there was a face, and it was the only picture that had like a face in it, and it's like really hard to make out. You know, it could, or maybe it's pareidolia, as I was just reading about, where I just was seeing faces and things. But it was something that was there that wasn't there in the pictures before, so it freaked me out. Anyway, that's not the ghost story. I remember I freaked out when I saw the picture. There was a ghost tour guide walking around, and I flagged him down, and I was like, oh my god, look at this picture, look at this picture, I got this picture. This dude was so unfazed by this picture I got. He was like, yeah, it's Mr. Whaley. I see pictures of him all the time. I give this tour all the time. Weird, man. It was weird how not freaked out he was by this like picture, right? Anyway, so I go back home to the hotel afterwards, and I just, you know, whatever, normal day, turn the TV on. I always sleep with the TV on. That's just the kind of person I am. And then I fall asleep in bed. Then I wake up. The TV is now off, and no sound or anything, right? It's just like dead quiet in the room, which is weird. I didn't set a sleep timer, but maybe it was the hotel TV. It just turned off by itself. My head was facing off to the left of the bed where the nightstand was, and there was an alarm clock sitting there. And I remember on the alarm clock it said like 3:35 a.m. You know, not 3:33. Would have been max creepy at 3:33, but it was 3:35. And I was looking at that clock, and I was like, okay, it's really dark and spooky in here, and I just went to this super haunted house, right? So I'm freaked out. I want to turn the TV back on. I go to roll over to look look at the remote. Uh-oh, I'm paralyzed. I completely can't move. This has never happened to me in my entire life. And I'm just stuck. I'm stuck laying like this, looking at this clock. Behind the clock was this window, right? There was this long window, and it had these curtains, and they were open, and outside was like a highway, and there was cars going by, right? So I was getting like some tiny semblance of peace, knowing that there was human beings, you know, within 100 feet of me, right? So I started finding comfort in this as I'm actually freaking out that I can't move. That's when the curtains start closing, right? They're just slowly closing, and slowly the light is leaving, and now they have completely closed, and it is pitch black in the room except for the alarm clock that says 3:35 a.m. Now I am full on freaking the fuck out, like losing my shit freaking out, right? And I'm like sweating, and my heart, I thought my heart was gonna explode out of my chest. And then finally I burst out of it, I break out of this fucking hold, and I sit up, right? I sit up and I look over at the window. It's open. The curtains are open. They never closed. I look over at the TV's on, the volume's on, nothing ever changed. I'm like, wow, that was a fucked up nightmare. Then I look over at my alarm clock, it's still 3:35. What the fuck, right? I was absolutely mortified. I was terrified. It was like the worst. I've never felt so terrible in my life. I was so scared. And I was alone. I was by myself in this hotel. So I didn't really know what happened. Let's see. Dreaming with your eyes open or sleep paralysis was the first thing on the against section, right? So obviously that's what I encountered. I encountered sleep paralysis for the first time in my life. But that's like a hella coincidental time for that to happen, right? Right after I was in this haunted house, this most like America's most haunted house. This is when that happens to me. And that also goes with another thing I read, which is seeking out the paranormal will yield you the paranormal. That's what I was doing. I was seeking out the paranormal by going to the Whaley house. Something super fucking up happened to me that night. Whether my brain did that to me myself, like that's what I've come to accept now, is that like, you know, I was looking for some scary shit and some scary shit happened. You know, I got what I was looking for. That being said, I have never since that day went out of my way to look into paranormal shit again. I wouldn't say that I'm a believer, but I certainly don't want to poke at that beast again, you know, after that happened. So that was really crazy. Anyway, that's all I can really think of to go over for this week. So before I let you guys go, I thought it was really funny. I don't know if I'm sure a bunch of you have played Guitar Hero before in Rock Band. If you ever noticed how when you're playing for a really long time, if you look off screen, because you've been watching it scrolling for so long, like the shit will start to move in the room, like on the floor. So I've been watching this, right? My audio thing going sideways for like so long while I record these videos. I will watch the audio thing scroll sideways. And then right after I finished telling the ghost story, I looked at this piece of paper that's sitting next to the iPad, and it started doing this shit. Oh man. Yeah, after telling that story, and then that happening, I about shit my pants, and I'm really sad that I wasn't specifically recording that moment, because that was terrifying that the paper started moving. Yeah, but that's just another thing going to prove that when we want something to happen, we make it happen, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess that's my takeaway. I don't think I believe in the paranormal, but I do believe that my brain will fuck me over at any possible chance that it gets, and I no longer want to try and give it ammunition to do so. But I really want to hear back from you guys on this video. I want to know what you think. If you like the longer form kind of commentary shit, am I entertaining enough to do that? Also, I want to know what you guys think on the paranormal. What are your thoughts on ghosts and stuff like that? So definitely down in the comments, let me... Chief. Did you guys hear that? What the... Hold on. What? Is someone there?
Yes, Chief. I've been here all along.
Can I help you?
Give me purpose.
Why are you here?
I smell beef.
More importantly, why would you be doing anything else when you could join a cult today?